When you look at Amaranth, what you're really seeing is a reminder that human beings didn't evolve on convenience foods or nutritional shortcuts. We evolved on substances that carried information, signals that told the body how to regulate itself, how to repair, and how to endure. Amaranth is one of those substances. It's ancient, yes, but more importantly, it's biologically intelligent. Unlike most grains, it contains a complete protein profile, including lysine, an amino acid that modern diets are often quietly deficient in. And that matters more than people realize. Protein isn't just about muscle, it's about structure, signaling, and stability. When your body has what it needs at a fundamental level, chaos reduces itself. In practical terms, this means steadier energy, fewer cravings, and better metabolic control. Amaranth digests slowly, releasing energy in a measured way rather than flooding the bloodstream with glucose and leaving you exhausted an hour later. That slow, deliberate release mirrors something deeper: discipline over impulse, order over volatility. When blood sugar stabilizes, mood stabilizes. When mood stabilizes, decisions improve. And suddenly, nutrition stops being about calories and starts being about character. There's also something psychologically grounding about consuming foods that have endured across civilizations. Amaranth sustained the Aztecs and other ancient cultures not because it was trendy, but because it worked. It supported physical labor, cognitive endurance, and survival under pressure. That should make us pause. Modern society prides itself on innovation, yet struggles with fatigue, obesity, and metabolic disease. Perhaps the issue isn't a lack of progress, but a loss of alignment with biological reality. Amaranth offers a quiet correction. It nourishes muscle without excess, supports insulin sensitivity without deprivation, and provides satiety without heaviness. It allows the body to function as a coordinated system rather than a battlefield of spikes and crashes. That's not trivial, it's foundational. A well-regulated metabolism gives you the energy to aim upward, to take responsibility, and to persist when things get difficult. So the question isn't whether Amaranth is ancient or modern. The question is whether you're willing to choose foods that impose order on your physiology instead of chaos. Because when you feed the body wisely, the mind follows, and that's where meaningful change actually begins. Once metabolism is stabilized, the next question becomes structural. What is your body actually built from, and how well is it holding itself together over time? This is where Amaranth reveals another layer of its value. It's rich in minerals, magnesium, iron, calcium, potassium, not in a superficial way, but in a way that supports the deep architecture of the body. These aren't optional nutrients. They are the quiet forces that regulate heart rhythm, strengthen bones, carry oxygen, and allow muscles and nerves to communicate without error. When they're missing, the system doesn't collapse immediately, it frays slowly. And that slow decay is what most people mistake for normal aging. Magnesium alone plays a role in hundreds of enzymatic reactions, many of them tied to stress regulation. Without it, the nervous system becomes reactive, the heart works harder than it should, and inflammation simmers beneath the surface. Iron determines whether oxygen actually reaches your tissues, whether effort feels manageable or exhausting. Calcium isn't just about bones, it's about signaling how cells know when to contract, relax, and repair. Amaranth delivers these elements together, as a coordinated package, rather than as isolated supplements that the body struggles to integrate. There's something philosophically important about that. Biological systems function best when inputs are coherent, not fragmented. Chronic inflammation and cardiovascular strain aren't merely physical problems. They're manifestations of long-term imbalance. The body, like the psyche, adapts until it can't anymore. And then symptoms appear. Amaranth supports the opposite process, it reinforces resilience at the cellular level before breakdown occurs. This matters especially in a culture obsessed with surface-level health markers while ignoring foundational strength. You can't outwork a weak structure. You can't outsupplement chronic deficiency. Strength, whether physical or psychological, is built from the inside outward. Amaranth contributes to bone density, protects arterial walls through antioxidant compounds like squalene, and helps regulate blood pressure by supporting electrolyte balance. These effects aren't dramatic in the short term, but they are profound over decades. The deeper message here is responsibility. If you nourish the structures that carry you, your heart, your bones, your blood, you reduce unnecessary suffering later. You don't wait for collapse to justify discipline. You act while strength is still available. Because resilience isn't something you recover after it's gone, it's something you build deliberately, one intelligent choice at a time. If the body is metabolically regulated and structurally supported, the final question becomes one of direction and longevity. Where is all of this energy and resilience actually going? That's where digestion enters the conversation, not as a minor detail, but as the interface between the external world and your internal order. The gut is where choice becomes biology. Amaranth plays a critical role here because it supports digestion without provoking chaos. It's naturally gluten-free, rich in dietary fiber, and gentle on the intestinal lining, which means it nourishes the microbiome rather than antagonizing it. Fiber isn't just about digestion in the narrow sense. It feeds beneficial bacteria that regulate immune responses, inflammation, and even neurotransmitter production. A compromised gut doesn't just lead to discomfort, it leads to brain fog, irritability, and a subtle erosion of psychological resilience. When digestion is unstable, the mind becomes reactive. When the gut is supported, clarity emerges. Amaranth contributes to that stability by slowing digestion, improving nutrient absorption, and creating an internal environment where beneficial bacteria can thrive. There's also the issue of long-term vitality. Amaranth contains antioxidant compounds that reduce oxidative stress, the slow cellular damage that accumulates with time and poor lifestyle choices. Aging, at its core, is not simply the passage of years, it's the gradual loss of coherence in biological systems. When oxidative stress and chronic inflammation dominate, repair mechanisms fall behind. By supporting digestive health and reducing inflammatory load, Amaranth quietly shifts the balance back toward maintenance and renewal. What's compelling here is how closely this mirrors psychological development. Order precedes meaning. If your internal environment is chaotic, no amount of ambition will save you from burnout. But when the fundamentals are in place, stable digestion, balanced immunity, consistent energy, the future stops feeling overwhelming. You're no longer fighting your own biology just to function. This reframes food as more than fuel. It becomes a long-term strategy for remaining capable as life demands more from you, not less. Amaranth doesn't promise immortality or instant transformation. What it offers is continuity, the ability to stay mentally sharp, physically resilient, and internally aligned over time. And that leads to a simple but serious challenge: choose foods that help you remain functional in the long arc of your life. Because longevity isn't about adding years to your existence, it's about preserving the capacity to act meaningfully within them.